Hi, so this week our group talked about Locke's belief that there is nothing in the mind that wasn't previously in the senses, and relating to his blank slate analogy. There seem to be a few different views going back and forth, agreeing and disagreeing. Some thought that there are some things we are born with innately, some ideas that we just have programmed. One of them that was brought up was that of children who are blind who still learn facial expressions despite the fact having never experienced them, and using that as sort of a supporting argument for there being innate ideas in place, or pre-programming, I guess, however you want to call it. One of the things I took away from this week was I kind of came into it thinking that his blank slate analogy was putting all children on the same playing field, and putting all people on the same playing field, that if we all have the same level of education, that we can all achieve the same things because we're all blank slates ready to be molded. And I didn't really agree with that idea, because I just feel that kids can all be so different and unique, and they all have their own capacities and limitations for learning. But then I read further into it, and we looked into it more, and it seems that Locke also agrees with that he believes there are capacities and limitations that are different for each child and for each person, but that we don't come into this world with innate ideas, with pre-programmed thoughts. So that was one thing I kind of took away from it, that the tabula rasa isn't necessarily just about everybody being on equal playing field, but just that there are no innate ideas, and kind of turning against rationalism in that sense. Another issue that came up was discussing whether or not Locke and thinkers of his time would be in support of our current education system, and one of the thoughts that was brought up was standardized testing, and I wasn't really sure what he would think about it, but others sort of thought that standardized testing probably wouldn't be looked at in high regards by Locke, and that is maybe something that we are using as just a means to meet higher demands for educating more children with less funding and on a tight budget. So we kind of cut corners as best we can using these methods of standardized testing and other ways of getting as much education out as quickly and efficiently as possible. Another thing was the issue of, if we are all blank slates, that it puts more onus on society as a whole as opposed to the individual, and as a result we have just a little more pressure for education, because we are now starting to move away from the individualist mentality. But then somebody did bring up that this returned with the American dream, which is such an individualist thought process, and that we need to take a stance against that and move towards more of a societal responsibility for all of us. And that's that.